Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. I was just listening to Brock and Salk. They just came back from their break, and they're talking about the simulcast we're doing. Coming up at 8:30, Brock and Salk with our sister station up there in Seattle, 710 ESPN.
Hey, why did they disrespect you? We have to figure that out before they come on.
Because they said the drive with Carmichael Dave. They didn't mention me.
They didn't mention you at all.
So we pretended like I was super disrespected.
Right, okay.
Anyways, they were just talking about that. That's coming up at 8:30. That's one of our top stories. Another top story is that the Chargers came back from 14 points down in the fourth quarter last night to beat the Chiefs 29-28 at Arrowhead Stadium, pulling them into a tie for the AFC West lead and clinching a playoff spot. The Raiders are on the road in Cincinnati, while the 49ers host the Seahawks at Levi Stadium. That's what's going on in Bay Area football in Week 15. And then the Kings are in action tonight at home against the two-time defending champion Golden State Warriors, winners of 3 of the last 4 NBA titles. Coverage of that one on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 5:30.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
I gotta get my read. Tip-off's at 7 tonight.
Okay.
Get there early. Don't let Warriors fans invade the NBC set.
No. Please don't.
Everyone is talking about
Don't do that.
The drive starts now.
Do your read.
It's 8:02. Time to put your lights up. If you haven't, Squeaky Clean can hang. Visit squeakyclean.com.
Seriously, can we stake out win or lose behind the the podium where Coz and Jerry and everyone else are, Katie, with nothing but Kings fans? Don't let a Warrior fan sneak in there. Don't get physical. Don't get abusive. We always have to say this because we get letters.
If a Warriors fan gets there first,
then that's
so be it.
Props to them
Make
for
it,
wanting it more.
Go stand there first, so you're in the front of the line.
That's right. That's what
all.
I say, Kyle Madsen, and so do you.
Yeah.
Dave Richards is going to join us in just a second. A couple of programming notes I want to get to before we get to Dave. Kyle, next week will be our final full week for the holidays. Everybody else is taking time off. Not us. Well, kind of. We will be working a full week next week. We will be off Saturday, Sunday as usual, but then also the following Monday, Tuesday. Rinse and repeat that for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. The following week, we will be off that. So 2 consecutive 4-day weekends, but we will work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So next week is getaway week. It's the week before Christmas. Should we integrate holiday songs into our intros?
Yes.
Okay. I agree with you. So we'll figure out a way to do that off the air. We'll compile a list, make that happen. Coming up at 8:35 also, we will be simulcasting with our good friends up in Seattle. I believe, as I understand, they usually lead the simulcast, don't they? Where they'll bring us on. Okay. So they'll be simulcasting with us. We're just here for them. We're just here. We're just the dogs in the cage.
We're just a conduit for content.
Big Seattle, ooh. When they want to talk to little old Sacramento, oh, no problem. We're here for you guys. And your disrespect to Kyle.
Sorry if we can't hear you over the sound of basketballs dribbling.
Oh.
That was rude.
Kyle.
That was so uncalled for.
Kyle
I'm sorry.
W. Madsen.
Hey,
how dare you?
Hey, it's in my Twitter handle.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, it's time to call your local Geico agent, Vince Harris, at 916-923-5050. That's 916-923-5050.
All right, we'll get Dave Richard on the program here right now.
I can't wait to brag about starting Damian Williams.
If you have fantasy football questions, Dave Richard is your man. Most of you are now in the NFL playoffs. Fantasy football playoffs. You know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about. So, Dave's your guy. If I sound a little more out of sorts than normal, I got to be honest. And normally I sound out of sorts. I feel like I've been out of sorts all morning. I'm really getting geeked for this game tonight. I'm having an issue. I'm getting too pumped for it. I really am. And I'm doing everything I can to not get pumped for it because it's the Warriors. And I did the same thing when the Lakers came to town. And then I was extra super depressed. I was depressed for the next 2 days about it because I hate the freaking Lakers. But I can't help it, man. I cannot help it. Kings Warriors tonight, 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame, right here on the Sporty 1140. Is our friend Dave Richard?
Oh, boy, is he.
Oh, boy, is he. Joining us right now.
Locked in,
I'm going
as
to lock
always.
there. He's locked in right now so we don't hang up on him again this time. From CBS Sports, you can hear, listen, read, write. There's so many different ways to interact with Dave, and he is so very busy, but he joins us each and every Friday at 8:05. That would be 11:05 his time. Hello, David. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm hanging out and not as excited as you are. I know that you are pumped for that big game for the Kings and the Warriors, but I'm pumped for my fantasy lineups and my fantasy games.
Same.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle. Get out of the way.
I started Damian Williams last night, and I'm really proud of myself.
Good for you. Yeah, I
you.
recommended him. I thought that he'd be good. He had some good goal line opportunities for the previous game, and we knew that there wasn't going to be any Spencer Ware. Andy Reid likes to stick with one guy for most of the game, and he came through. It was awesome.
Well, if you think that's awesome, in my big money league, I was 10-1, and then I lost, and I went to 10-2. And then I lost by 1 point, and I went to 10-3, which got me out of a first-round bye. And then last week I lost, and now I'm out of the league. I was 10-1.
Oh my gosh!
I was 10-1.
Unbelievable.
Like honestly,
those are the worst, man. Those are the worst.
And the thing is that and I know everyone suffers through this, and nobody wants to hear about fantasy heartbreak, but everyone goes through this. I don't even feel like my team sucked. It's just that luck portion of it where. If you just happen, I started Cam Newton, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, Adam Thielen, Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks, New Orleans defense, and Brandon McManus, right?
Yeah.
And they
Ooh,
just
even
all
Brandon
sucked.
McManus. Wow.
Right. Like, come on.
Yeah. It happens. I was in a league that I was dying to win with Mahomes, Gurley, Ertz, and Thielen last week. And you know how that went. We missed the bye by just a few points.
Yep.
Gurley, Ertz, and Thielen didn't even get any points.
When you look at this Kansas City team now and the fallout from Kareem Hunt's off-field situation on-field, so now the what's-his-face that Kyle started, is that your guy? And how have you looked at and how have you slid up or down the value of guys like Mahomes or Tyreek Hill?
Well, you have to be a little bit concerned about Tyreek Hill, just the fact that he didn't come through with a big game. And they gave him plenty of chances to do it. He had lots of opportunities, and he just couldn't come through. And, it's a little frustrating, I guess.
Yeah.
Mahomes is still going to be your guy moving forward. And then Damian Williams, it's going to come down to Spencer Ware and how healthy he is. If Ware is back next week, I'm sure it'll be a split between those two guys, and it'll frustrate fantasy owners. But if it's not, that the Chiefs are going to have all the confidence in the world in giving Damian Williams that big workload. Tough matchup for them against Seattle. In Seattle, in prime time, it'll be fun. I think Damian Williams is still going to be somebody that you start, but it's not going to be maybe it'll be okay because I know that the Seahawks are probably going to be a little weaker at linebacker with Kendricks out for the year. KJ Wright's not back yet. Williams will probably be okay. You need to root for Spencer Ware to be out for another week.
How are you advertising everyone or advising everybody with James Conner? He missed practice Thursday. Is he just for you? Start your backup, but be awake, Sunday morning and see if they put him in.
Well, let's see if he practices today. If he practices today, then I think he'll be good to go. But if he doesn't practice, then I think it's going to be another week of Jalen Samuels leading the way with a little bit of Stephen Ridley in a big-time matchup against the Patriots. And I think what Samuels offers as a pass catcher makes him a better option for what the Steelers need right now. I think they're going to have to lean on Roethlisberger throwing the football a lot. It looks like Ben will play, and he'll be fine. And that'll be it. So I think he's got a chance to get you another game with 7+ catches. Really going to be good in PPR. And in non-PPR, he'll be okay. It'll probably be a lot similar to what we got from him in Week 14.
Dave Richards, CBS Sports with us. If you have a question for Dave, get in now at 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. We'll go to the text line first while we open up the phones for you to call. Jeff Wilson, Kenyon Drake, or Kerryon Johnson in a PPR league.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts there. I don't think Kerryon Johnson's going to end up playing. Jeff Wilson might have to split carries with Matt Breida. So by virtue of all that, I think you're probably looking, I guess, at Kenyon Drake if those are your only options. I would see if you can get your hands on maybe an Elijah McGuire off the waiver wire, Ito Smith with the Falcons. Those are two running backs I think I'd rather start ahead of all those guys.
Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston, or Big Ben at quarterback?
I'm going to go with Rodgers. I'm sorry, you said Big Ben. Let's go with Big Ben.
Okay.
I'm nervous about Rodgers playing at Chicago,
Yeah.
that Bears defense. The Packers offensive line Looks like they're going to be down 2 starters. And Jameis is going to Baltimore. He's going to have some turnovers there. It's not going to be good.
This guy says he had A.J. Green go down. He picked up DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, and Dante Pettis. Which one would you recommend for his first week of the playoffs?
I would go with DJ Moore. I like the consistency in targets, and I think Carolina will throw the ball a decent amount against New Orleans. I think they're going to actually have a little bit of a hard time running it into the front of that Saints defense, but I do think McCaffrey's going to do his thing catching the ball in the backfield. DJ Moore should be able to make a play or two after the catch.
Just firing questions at Dave Richard as they come in. Flex position open, Mark Ingram, Demaryius Thomas, or Cortland Sutton?
I'm going to go with Mark Ingram. I think he's got the best chance to score the 3. All 3 of those options aren't really that great. You might want to lean towards Sutton if it's full PPR, especially with Denzel Ward not playing for Cleveland, but it's going to be a close call between those two. I think the Saints learned last week that they've got to lean on their running backs a little bit more than they probably are used to doing, especially when they're on the road.
Nick Chubb or Leonard Fournette, PPR league?
I think I'm going to go with Fournette. I really like the matchup and how it looks for him against Washington. I think the Jaguars will finally be able to do what they want to do on offense.
And then a quarterback issue here, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, or Dak Prescott?
I'm going to go with Dak. I think we're going to see a high-scoring game between the Cowboys and the Colts. I don't think that Colts defense is as good as people make it out to be. They're playing hard and they're scrappy, but Dak's been unbelievable. 30 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 games. I would buy into him and go for that upside.
Are you a guy that prefers, let's say it's a 12-team league, Dave, and again, every once in a while you and I will get into fantasy philosophy. Are you one of those guys that would rather see, 12-man league, 8 teams make the playoffs type of thing, 6 teams make the playoffs, as opposed to, do you like longer or shorter playoffs?
I think league size is dependent on that, and I think it makes sense where if you're in a 12-team league, if 6 teams make it, that's fine. That's half the league. So if you finish in the top half in your league and wins, you move on to the tournament, as Philip Rivers might say. And then in a 10-team league, it's hard to put half of it in because then there's only 5 teams. I think you go with 4 teams in those smaller leagues. We've got a 26-team league, in the office. Only 8 teams make it in that one. So that one, it's a lot harder to be a playoff team in.
How do you feel about seeding those playoff matchups based on total points throughout the year?
Here's what I like to do. I like it where the top, if you've got 2 divisions, the 2 division winners, they're in, they get a bye.
Sure.
And then the next slots in, I guess if it's a 12-team league, we're talking about 4 more slots. It's based on total points scored. So that way, if someone just has a couple of unlucky weeks, but they're still scoring a lot of points, they're still rewarded. I mentioned that 26-team league. We do it a little bit differently in that one, where there's 2, I believe there's 2 divisions. If there's not, there's only 1 division, and the top 7 teams based on record get in, and then that 8th team is based on most points scored.
How many teams in that league?
26. That's no big deal.
I mean, are you going straight, quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, or?
No, it's 1 quarterback. It's 1 team quarterback.
Okay.
1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, and a defense. And the bye weeks are crazy because there's, when there's a bye-nado and there's 6 teams on bye, people are scrambling just to find anything. And they usually have a hard time. Some people are left shut out, and they've got to start a DST that's on bye, or even worse, a quarterback that's on bye. It makes things very, very tough. And it's all on top of all that, Dave. It's tiered PPR scoring. So running backs, it's a half point per catch. A wide receiver, full point. Tight end, 1.5 points per catch. And there's even crazy rules to the draft. It's a very, very different type of league. It's really for people who are just way into fantasy football.
Snake draft or auction? I'm curious.
So what we do is it's a snake draft where the first round is only running backs and tight ends, and the second round is only quarterbacks and receivers.
So you make a pick. Like if you got the number 2 pick in the draft and the number 1 pick in the draft, you make your pick. You can go take a drive to the store and go grocery shop and come back and make your second round.
I mean, it might be days, Dave. It might be days before you get that second pick in.
And then also as we continue this, when we go through snake draft versus auction, and I've been doing these blind auction drafts recently on weekly fantasy. Do you still have kind of a preference there
between auctions and snake draft?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the auction. In fact, if you're in a league that's wrapping up this year and it was a snake draft, you want to go auction next year. It's way more fun. You get to build the team the way that you want. You're not at the mercy of an order in which you have to go in. And usually the shrewd fantasy owners win out in those leagues.
When you're doing an auction league, either way, keeper or no keeper? What's your preference?
I don't mind keeper. It really depends on the group that I'm dealing with. It doesn't make a difference to me, Dave. That's one where I could go either way.
Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers?
I'm going to go with Rodgers there. Carr has been playing well. He still makes me nervous to trust in fantasy.
Are people going to get burnt this weekend on Derrick Henry starting over maybe perhaps a more consistent running back? How do you feel about Henry after that huge game last week?
I think he's got a chance to score one touchdown this week. I don't think 4 is in the offing for him. But if you forget about last week, you erase it from your memory, you see what he's done this year. It's about 12 carries a game. If he's lucky, he gets you 55 yards and a touchdown. I think that's what the expectation should be against the Giants. I don't see him going into the Meadowlands and having a huge game against them like he did last week against Jacksonville. That was a once-in-a-lifetime type thing.
So somebody asking Sony Michel or Derrick Henry?
I'm going to go with Henry over Michel because I think there's a better chance that Henry scores than Michel. Michel's really been disappointing the last couple of weeks, and I wonder if the Patriots, who've given him a lot of work in those games, actually get away from him a little bit against Pittsburgh.
Gotcha. Dave Richards, CBS Sports. Dave, tell everybody where they can read you, write you, all that fun. You're so dang busy, and I believe, what are we looking at here? In about 42 minutes, you'll be doing something?
Yeah, I'll be on CBS Sports HQ. That's our new live 24/7 sports news information and analysis stream, which you just go to cbssportshq.com, and you're a click away from watching highlights, getting analysis, getting gambling picks, everything that a sports fan would want. It's very, very slick, very, very cool, and we're going all in on fantasy football starting in, like you said, about 40 minutes, right on cbssportshq.com.
He's the absolute best in the business. We've got him for a couple more weeks while the fantasy football season keeps going, and you can thank Dave Richard online at Dave Richard for all the advice you've been getting, both via text, phone, Twitter. He's a very accessible young man. Dave, we appreciate it, and thank you.
Young? What the hell are you talking about?
I know, right?
I think I'm older than you.
I think, well, yeah, but it's radio, so I'm trying to throw you a bone here. I mean, you're certainly smarter.
I appreciate it. I sound 28. I sound 29. Okay.
You have a very
whatever
young,
you say goes.
You have a very young, soothing voice, Dave. What do you want from me? I'll see you next week.
You got it, dude. Be good. Good luck in your league.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, later.
That's Dave Richards, CBS Sports. And I think Kyle just hung up on him. So, no, Kyle says it was me, but no, I don't think so. Don't buy it.
By what?
But I don't buy that I hung up on him.
No, you did. I didn't even touch anything. I didn't touch any buttons.
Did you see? By the
I
way,
work as little as possible.
We've got our simulcast with Brock and Salk up in Seattle. By the way, I need to get their name and call letters. Probably want to promote them properly.
I know it's 710 KIRO.
Yeah, but that's one of those things we want to be absolutely positive.
Yeah, no, you're right. I shouldn't guess on air.
Absolutely want to be. That would just be because I know Cairo is a Seattle station, and I do believe you're correct. But boy, like if we were simulcasting with somebody and they were like, I don't want to say the competitor's name.
Yeah, no, right.
You're not supposed to. But if they did that, it's like when
I was right.
Were you?
Yeah.
All right.
See, I knew it. I knew it the whole time.
It's like when Adam Carolla called me Dave Carmichael on the live show.
We get it. You talked to Adam Carolla.
Talking to Adam Carolla's a name drop? Really?
Oh, I'm Dave. Talking to Adam Carolla's not even a name drop. That's how cool I am with Adam Carolla.
I talked to the checkout clerk at Bel Air yesterday. Is that a...
No, because...
Oh, Dave, shop at Bel Air.
The Bel Air clerk wasn't on Loveline.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I've picked my playoff bandwagon team.
Earlier today, we asked Kyle. I picked the Los Angeles Chargers of Anaheim of San Diego as my playoff bandwagon team since my Niners are out of it. I asked Kyle to do the same. Now, Kyle, before you tell us who you picked, is there any chance if I hadn't picked the Chargers, would you have perhaps picked them? Were you purposely trying to pick a different team?
No.
Okay.
Because my reasoning for it runs very deep. I am jumping on the bandwagon of...
well, hold on. You want to... Let me
Yeah. We need a drum.
All right, so you are jumping on the bandwagon of... Please don't say the Seahawks.
The Chicago Bears.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not rooting for the Seahawks. Are you kidding? Ugh.
I know.
Ugh,
That'd be hilarious, though.
it'd be gross. Yeah, no, I have my best friend is from Chicago. He's a huge Bears fan.
Oh, I have a best friend.
I jumped on the Cubs bandwagon when the A's weren't in the playoffs a few years ago.
Yeah, I've seen you in Cubs gear.
Yeah, I own a Cubs hat. I don't own any Bears gear, but
Would you wear Bears gear?
no, it's different with NFL for me.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just a different dynamic.
Cubs at least are in the NL.
Yeah, and in the Cubs, the stuff I have, it's like the throwback logo. It's like a classic look.
If only there was throwback stuff for the Bears. Kinda
No,
like,
I know. No. But I am not as into NFL history as I am MLB history.
No, the Bears and Cubs, basically, their throwbacks look pretty much exactly the same as
Yeah,
now.
for the most part.
Same thing with the Reds with that hat that you were so hyper over. Because it's got a patch.
Super.
The Cincinnati Reds hat.
100-year patch? Are you kidding me? Have
red
you
hat
seen
with
it?
a C.
It's so fire.
It's all right. I have a New York Yankees Mickey Mantle jersey that has the new stadium patch on it.
Yeah, you also have like a Sidney Crosby
I do.
all-star jersey.
I know. I have dude, I went on a run for a while and was getting all my jerseys in China, and I have some random jerseys.
I was gonna get a San Jose Sharks sweater because that's what they are in hockey.
They're
sweaters. I was gonna get a Sharks sweater, and then I saw the price for just like the generic blank sweater, and I was out.
Because it's
I'm all the way out.
Yeah, it's a little expensive.
It's really expensive.
$25 in China. I've heard. Of course, I would never buy over there, but I've heard.
If there was like a hypothetical website, would you give it to me later?
Yeah, because it changes every month.
Oh.
Then they have to email me the new one because they have to keep shutting it down.
Right.
But you can't. You see me wear. I think.
Yeah, no, I know.
You can't tell the difference.
No, I mean, a little bit.
You know, if you look close.
But yeah, so I'm jumping on the Bears bandwagon.
Okay. All right.
Love me some Mitchell Trubisky.
All right. So you are a Bears fan, and I am a Charger fan for the rest of the year in our bandwagon lives.
Hey, if that turns out to be the Super Bowl, I don't think it will.
Oh, my God, that'd be
crazy. But if
crazy.
it does, I think we need to just go full bore with it.
Absolutely. If it does become the Super Bowl, then I'll bring in Charger and Bear gear.
Yeah.
We'll just go at it.
For sure.
We'll cut videos. We're like, I've been a Charger fan my whole life, and I still remember when Steve Young beat us back in '94.
What if my whole thing is just a horrible Saturday Night Live impression? Saturday Night Live. I don't know why I can't talk.
Yeah, you're having trouble talking.
Saturday Night Live. I'm just like, duh, Bears.
Just
like that's not.
Get
that's
the
not even
sweater and the glasses and the fake. Oh my God! Since we're on TV, how great would that be?
That would be really funny.
We'll get you the sweater and the mustache.
And King's Twitter MVP John is a big Bears fan.
Oh, is that why you did it? Wow. So
no.
You like being fans of teams that somebody who's trash like John is a fan of?
He's not trash at all.
That's an insult to trash. He's the trash.
That's rude, and I don't understand.
He's the trash.
He's a nice man.
Like if trash had a house and they had to take out their trash, that would be John.
Okay, that's rude.
Why? Telling the truth.
Then what is Brad?
Brad is John's trash. Nobody knows who
He's
we're
going to call us
talking about.
cowards now.
We've
That's
lost
fine.
the entire audience.
We have. Let's break. We got to break it.
We're going to simulcast with Brock and Salk up in Seattle, who are not trash.
Talking Niners Seahawks.
Coming up next on Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Chargers came roaring back from a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter last night to shock the Chiefs 29-28 at Arrowhead Stadium to clinch their spot in the AFC playoffs. They also pulled into a tie for the AFC West lead. The Raiders hit the road for Week 15 in Cincinnati, while the 49ers host the Seahawks at Levi Stadium. A little more on that game coming up with Brock and Salk up there in Seattle. They're coming up next as we simulcast with those guys. The Sacramento Kings are in action tonight at home against the Golden State Warriors. Coverage of that one on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 5:30. Kings Live is at 6:30, and tip-off is slated for 7 o'clock. It's 8:30. Time for Squeaky Clean. To clean your gutters, visit squeakyclean.com. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Here we go. The drive continues now.
Dang it. The cat was late. I was reading stats from my new friend Andy Bailey. You can follow him online at Andrew D. Bailey. I requested a Kings stat from him. He puts out a lot of stats all the time. Super smart guy. Iman Shumpert is posting career highs in box plus minus at 1.2 and true shooting at 57.9%. Over the 5 seasons prior to this one, he had a box plus minus of negative 0.7 and a true shooting percentage of 49.9%. Big jump for Iman Shumpert. So we're about to go with these guys, right?
Yeah.
I think all right, so here's the deal with we're going to be with Brock and Salk 710 Cairo. It's one of those things where Mike Salk is actually he's kind of a bit of a mentor. So I always have to pretend to like these guys when they come on. So everyone play along. Okay? We have to be on our best behavior. We have to pretend like we all get along. We have to overlaugh at jokes and then be minimal on the Seattle crack stuff. You know, we can't crack Seattle too much because then they get angry. And then I get written up by my boss. Kyle will get suspended. It's a big deal. All right, pot him up if you would.
Go then. What a perfect time to bring in the guys from The Drive at KTHK in Sacramento, our sister station down there. Carmichael, Dave, and The Drive. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hey, good. Also,
A very respectful intro. Wow.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Because we're being joined by Brock and Salk on 790? Because you couldn't get our call letters right.
Yeah.
You could. It's KHTK.
It is?
Yes. We've already started out on a horrible foot. You're already going to come in this weekend and kick the heck out of us in Santa Clara.
It's going to be 10 in a row.
Rubbing it in. Richard Sherman is crying. This is how we start on a Friday, guys.
You know, guys, that's just funny. That's just kind of funny. Like it's not a real mistake. It's just kind of a funny one. Like sometimes these things happen just kind of funny.
I like you guys too. I did not expect you to go low. When you go low, we go high.
Is that true?
No.
Oh, you know the address to the high road, do you?
Honestly, Brock brought coffee and donuts when he was here, so he's got a lifetime pass for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that, man.
All right, guys, let's spend a couple of minutes on the game here,
Okay.
because when we talked about the Raiders, you were very clear you don't know anything about the Raiders.
No.
But I know
But
you guys
faked it
both know
well.
about
I mean,
the
you guys
Niners.
faked that one kind of well. I'm not
Thank
gonna
you.
lie.
We're about
You've
to
done
do the same
you do radio
thing.
well.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us a little. I mean, we saw the Niners a couple of weeks ago. Have they changed in the last 12 days since we saw them?
I'm going to let Kyle Madsen from NinersWire.com, which is a USA Today property. He's the editor-in-chief. I'll let Kyle answer first.
They're a little more banged up, for sure. I don't know if you'll see Matt Breida, so it'll probably be a lot of Jeff Wilson. You'll see a couple of different guys on defense, but they're certainly probably not going to win. So it'll be mostly the same team.
Kyle, legit question here.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be a funny guy. Every number says Nick Mullins played better than Jimmy Garoppolo this year. Passer rating, touchdowns, interceptions, yards, percentage, yards per attempt. Like anything you want to look at.
No,
I mean,
not
Nick,
his looks.
well,
Exactly.
He didn't look as good as
How's his
Jimmy
beard
Garoppolo.
game?
Let's be clear.
Yeah, true. He is married, though, Mr. Mullins.
Okay.
Yeah, I dug into a little
I'm
bit of
glad
that stuff.
that's
Yeah.
important.
They're about
No,
to
he's
ask.
played-
They're about to ask if there's going to be like a quarterback
Yeah,
controversy.
No.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
not at all.
Okay.
But the last time we were together, Salk rightfully called out the C.J. Beathard injury. He said that when we talked to you guys in December, and Kyle, I think you rightfully said the game was going to be flexed out last week, and you were right on that one too. So you and Salk just totally nailed that thing. But this Nick Mullins guy, has he been a bit of a revelation to the team and to you guys watching a third stringer come in and play this well?
A little bit. I think he's better than CJ Beathard. He's certainly not better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I know the numbers kind of say that, but it's mostly been Kyle Shanahan and his ability to scheme to Nick Mullins' strengths. But I think we'll see the Seahawks take away a lot of the stuff that they got last time. They're going to force him to throw outside the numbers, which he can't do. You'll notice they don't throw down the field very much, and that's solely due to limitations with Nick Mullins that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have.
Hey guys, I got a question. I want to ask you something up there too on this. I was very curious with the Seahawks hosting the Niners a couple weeks ago. What is the whole thing with Richard Sherman? I see this split, it seems, amongst the fan base. Shouldn't Richard Sherman be idolized and held up on this pedestal up there? It's very difficult for me as a Niner fan remembering Michael Crabtree and the NFC Championship game to embrace Richard Sherman. But why is there even a controversy up there when it comes to him?
Because sometimes great stories have lousy endings. Because Richard Sherman's relationship with the Seahawks didn't end after that Super Bowl. It continued
Carmichael,
for the next
Dave,
few
are
years.
you familiar with the term scorched earth?
Is that what happened? Did he do that? I mean, I'm
He
asking.
threw his quarterback.
Yeah.
He threw his head coach. He threw the program. He threw media members. He threw
General
everybody.
manager.
They lost their way. They don't know what they're doing. Kumbaya meetings. And then, you know what? I think I can say pretty darn confidently, both those articles, both Wickershams and Bishops, and this is not talking to either of those men directly. This is just through inferences in our work. The sources behind all of that, the impetus, was that guy. So I think that there's a little bit of a split. You're right. What he did in that tip and that play and that statue and everything will be forever remembered.
Not to mention the small commentary. Oh, Russell. Oh, well, he had like 170 yards passing. Well, feel free to mention the 4 touchdowns too, Richard. He's not great with sharing credit.
How's it feel on the other side? See, we hated Richard Sherman. It was one of those things where we hated him passionately, but then I had to like look at the offseason stuff, the Stanford graduate, the work he does with people and say, I can't stand him, but he seems like a good guy. And now he seems like, in every sport has these, one of those players, if he's on your team, you absolutely love him. If he's not on your team, you can't stand him.
It feels great because the Seahawks are 8-5 and the Niners are 3-10.
Yeah, no, and I know, and you guys might actually.
That's why it feels great.
And Richard thought it'd be the other way.
That's
Richard
right.
thought he was leaving for the ascending program. John Lynch, Shanahan, Jimmy G. This whole thing is ascending, and the Seahawks, like a lot of the national narrative, are they're dead. Pete's dead. This thing's broken. It's done. It's over. They're rebuilding. And one team's 8-5 and ascending, and the other one's 3-10 and been riddled with injuries and other issues this year.
I'm honestly, and this is gonna tick off a lot of my fellow Niner fans down here, but I'm honestly rooting hard for the Seahawks this year because I think what I would like to see the Seahawks win 4 straight Super Bowls so that we could be on the same level historically and each have 5 championships and then actually have like a real rivalry instead of this year-to-year thing. So I'm kind of pulling for the Seahawks. I would like to see, because like that one Super Bowl was cute. I mean, honest, no, it was cute. No, it was like I enjoyed it. And then I was actually at the game when, for some reason, Pete Carroll did not run Marshawn Lynch, which I don't know if you guys have ever talked about that up there. Probably not.
A couple times.
So, in all seriousness, guys, you look at the Cowboys, you look at the Seahawks right now. We were talking about Kansas City going into Seattle, and Seattle may hold the key to the 1 seed in the AFC as well. You guys are right in the middle of everything.
Hey, Kyle, who is this you're talking to? Who is this that was just talking to Kyle? who is this co-host of yours? The Kyle Madsen Show and the
Brock, I'll give you money if you can remember their call letters.
Without looking at it?
Right.
Yeah, without looking. No, you're looking. Oh, Brock can't read anyway. Not because he's dumb, but because of his eyesight.
Bro,
the poor guy's getting old. He's not wearing his Ebenezer's.
Okay. For crying out loud. You should see their abode down there. The thing is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
Farm field right next to it.
I was told there was like a pot field right behind the building.
That's
Is that
just
true?
California in general, yeah.
Yeah, that's called the parking lot.
everywhere.
That's the parking lot.
That's the parking lot. Oh, that's
For some reason, everyone crashes into each other. I don't know why.
Okay, legit question.
Yes.
Legit question. Is Richard Sherman a 49er? Are we going to have this kind of fun in 2019?
Yeah.
You think so, Kyle?
Really? He's not been prime Richard Sherman, but he's been their best defensive back by a pretty wide margin. And his contract is super team friendly. That I think they'd be kind of stupid to not bring him back.
Since you guys are kind of leading this thing, I don't know how much time we have left, and we do defer to you because
Like
you're
30 seconds.
You're the bigger market. Can I ask you this? Is the whole Phoenix Suns thing and that comment reportedly from Robert Sarver, which may not have been a comment, I'm being serious now. All talking aside,
Yeah.
I really do feel for Seattle basketball fans up there. They do deserve to have a team. I wish it was expansion so they don't have to go through that again. Is everybody getting revved up again, or is
No.
Okay,
NBA
okay.
talk comes, Carmichael Dave, and we play the great Ron Rivera.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Okay.
We don't get leveraged anymore. We're not going to be leveraged by anybody.
Good.
And especially not that guy down in Phoenix.
Now, when someone's willing to sell their team, that'll be a little bit different because I think the guys here, David Bonnerman, who's put together this NHL bid, when those guys are ready to buy a team, I think it'll be a little bit different conversation instead of a guy like Sarver who just seems like he's just being cheap.
Well, you're getting the Clippers or Pelicans in the next 2-3 years anyways.
I would think that one of those two things could
You
happen.
got a great voice, Dave.
I'm a little stuffed up.
No, you're not. You sound great.
I appreciate
Sound like you
Kyle,
always sound.
Kyle, it's always a joy to jump on your show, too.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you, guys.
Yeah, thanks,
enjoy
guys.
the game on Sunday. We appreciate it.
Hey,
The Drive, KHTK, right? Did I get it right that time?
Yeah, you did. Keep killing it on a 780 KIRO. And we'll talk.
See you guys.
See you guys.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
That is our simulcast.
That is Brock and Salk up in Seattle.
They're great. I love those guys.
I do. I enjoy it.
I'm going to move to Seattle and work with them.
Listen, if it wasn't for it being $1 billion a square foot up there, now I love Sacramento, but I would love to spend my summers in there. I've talked about this before. The Puget Sound area up there, Bremerton. We go to Vashon Island up there, which I always mispronounce. That whole set, Whidbey Island, it's a beautiful, beautiful area. But they also not beautiful enough to steal our basketball team. So suck it, Seattle. Sorry.
Come on. See?
Sorry.
You were doing so
I
well.
know. I was trying.
Hey, it's time to call your local Geico agent, Vince Harris, at 916-923-5050. That's 916-923-5050.
Yeah. Vince Harris is the man. Got no problems with that. We'll take a break. When we come back, what's on tap? Brought to you by Coors
We got
Light.
a cold hard fact for you.
Oh, yeah.
Cold hard facts is brought to you by Coors
Brought to
Light.
you by Coors Light. What's on tap? Brought to you by Remaining to be Seen. Kyle will throw that out there next. Sports 1140 KHTK. What's on tap? Brought to you by
TV remotes.
TV remotes. Man, I am old enough to remember when I used to have to switch.
Really?
With the, barely, but yeah, you had the dial. You had a dial up top that was like your 3, 10, 13. And then you had the dial on the bottom. There would be on the one I had, it had a U. So it would be like 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And then you'd have a U. And I think that was for UHF or what. You flip it to the U. And then the bottom dial would be for 31, 40, 58 and all that. And I remember my dad, who I know is watching right now. Hi, Dad. My dad would always, oh, dang it, Jesus. There's only so many clicks in that thing. You just find it, program, and watch it. That was my every time. And then when we got the remote, click, click, click. It only has so many clicks. You're going to ruin the find something and watch it.
Hey, there's only so many clicks part of the dad constitution?
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Stop clicking it.
Because
it will run out.
That's it. My dad would say that all the time because I have like nervous tics where I'll just like click a pen or whatever.
Control of the thermostat, drinking out of the carton, turning off the light switch when you're outside of the room. And then also, the first remote I ever had, by the way, in our household was a plugged-in wired remote to our VCR. It was the greatest day of our lives as kids when my parents brought home a VCR that they bought from Video Depot on Madison Avenue and I think San Juan. It's now a Diamond Place. And they brought home a VCR and a couple of movies, including The Muppets Take Manhattan. It was a big moment in my childhood. And they had a remote that you'd plug into the VCR with like a 5-foot cord for pause, rewind, fast forward, and stop. And then we had a little Corvette that you'd stick the tapes in when you take them back. Because, Kyle, again, you're too young for this, but Be Kind Rewind was a thing. You always rewind the tape
right
before
when you go to Blockbuster.
Can you imagine that?
Remember that?
You'd have to sit there and rewind your tape.
Pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, imagine what things will be like, Kyle, in 30 years.
No thanks.
All right. What's on tap? It's very simple. There's a lot on tap, but the only thing we care about, Kings, Warriors tonight, pregame 6:30, tip-off 7 right here on the Sporty 1140. I hope it is packed. I hope everybody's in their seats at the start of the game. I hope everybody's in their seats at the start of the third quarter. Let's just kick the holy heck out of those defending champions, please.
2-time defending champion.
Oh, shut up. Also, Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Coors Light. Here's Kyle Madsen.
It's time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Fact of the Day. Here's Kyle Madsen.
I just said that, but I'll say it again. Kyle Madsen with your Cold Hard Facts of the Day. And go.
I've got a cold hard fact that ties into our simulcast there with Brock and Salk from 780 ESPN up there, KIRO in Seattle. 710.
780.
710.
I see what you did.
Yeah, see? I
liked
continuing the bit.
Yes.
The 49ers host the Seahawks this weekend. The 49ers have lost 9 games in a row in the regular season to Seattle.
All right.
They haven't scored more than 23 points against the Seahawks since September 11th, 2011, when they scored 33 points. And they got to 33 thanks to 2 Ted Ginn kick returns in the final 6 minutes. They haven't scored 3 touchdowns against the Seahawks since the final game of the 2016 season. That was on January 1st, 2017, when they lost to Seattle 25-23. Sean Drone had 2 touchdowns in that game.
Draughn.
Yeah,
Sean Drone. So you're saying they're due?
Not exactly.
Kyle just said the Niners are winning this weekend.
They've lost their last 2 games 67-29 combined. Like, the Seahawks have just owned this rivalry.
I hate the dumb Seahawks.
And so that's our cold hard fact of the day. The Niners, including the playoffs, have lost 10 in a row to Seattle, dating back to November 27th of 2014.
Okay. That's a good cold hard fact brought to you by Coors Light.
The last time the Niners beat Seattle was December 8th, 2013. Oof.
I remember that.
19-17.
It was amazing.
That was the Frank Gore. Frank Gore had a huge game that day.
Frank Gore, possible future Hall of Famer. If it was up to
Definitely
me.
future Hall of Famer.
Kyle's still jury out on that.
That's my least of all the bits you do. That's my least favorite one.
It really is.
And I know that's why you keep doing it, but it's something that I'm just so staunchly supportive of. And there are people who are so staunchly against it. Mm-hmm. And so I really hate it. I really hate that you
My
do
favorite part of that bit is doing it on Twitter. And then just watching you get all these people cracking you for not thinking Frank Gore's a Hall of Famer. And then I know you're so angry. You're like,
it makes me so mad.
You're like-
Because it's all this stuff that, like, yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, do you not know me? Follow me for 10 seconds.
Just want to say for the record.
Golly.
Want to say for the record publicly during the break, I invited Kyle to come watch the Kings-Warriors game with me tonight, and he turned me down.
Asked me 11 hours before the game starting, 10 hours before the game starting.
You say tomato, I say ball game, and you turned me down. So for those who think that I don't ever want to hang out with Kyle.
Hang on. I also want to say publicly on the record, Dave asked me, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And I said, I'm headed home. I'm going to do this and that. Thought he was just genuinely interested. And then an hour later comes in, he's like, hey, it's a shame you're not going to be around this weekend.
You see, Kyle, the move there is I make sure you're busy first.
Right,
then I invite you to
exactly.
things so that I can take credit.
I'm just putting it on the record that you purposely made sure I couldn't go before inviting me.
Private text from my father. God dang it, find another voice when you intimidate me, damn it. All right, Dad. Kyle, I got a couple of makeup facts for you to finish out the week if you'd like. Want to remind you first off, you want to talk about a fact. It is an absolute fact that Dave Richard, Sean Salisbury, and all our listeners brought to you by Fire Wings. 21 different flavors to choose from.
Yeah, there are.
Firewings.com. Just wing it. Kyle, there are more life forms living on your skin right now than there are people on the planet. Think about that. More life forms living on your skin right now than there are people on the planet.
I read this article one time that it makes sense, but I'd never really thought about it. Like, your skin is like its own like being. Mm-hmm. And so your skin like learns things.
Yep.
So you know when you feel like your phone vibrate in your pocket, but your phone is sitting next to you on the table?
Right.
What that is your skin has gotten so used to feeling your phone vibrate in your pocket that something will make it think that it's your phone going off, so your skin will vibrate.
That's right.
Anticipating your phone vibrating.
Isn't that amazing?
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's amazing and gross.
The other thing I learned in that same article, real quick, I promise, is that when you touch something, it's your brain feeling it. Isn't that weird?
I'm like touching things.
Yeah, so when you're touching that, that's your brain telling you to feel that. That's not like your skin or your...
Great. I'm going to just be sitting here touching.
I was tripping out. It's wild. Like they have prosthetics now that you can attach. Like if you have a prosthetic hand that you can attach and you can actually feel things as if it's your hand.
Okay, that's crazy.
That's wild, right?
Yeah.
Cold hard fact. Brought to you by Coors Light.
A human will eat on average 70 assorted insects and 10 spiders while sleeping.
Gross. That makes me never want to sleep.
The average person walks the equivalent of 3 times around the world in a lifetime.
I think I've done 4 times around the world just going to Disneyland.
Coca-Cola would be green if coloring was not added to it.
Gross.
Okay, I would like to see a green Coca-Cola.
I don't see. That's just. Ugh.
If you believe that you're truly 1 in a million, there are still approximately 7,184 people out there just like you. 1 out of every 5 adults believe that aliens are hiding on our planet disguised as humans.
Ooh, I'm out on that. That's not me.
In 1386, a pig in France was executed by public hanging for the murder of a child. 1386.
Okay.
That's kind of... A coyote can hear a mouse moving underneath snow.
What?
Oh, yeah. A sneeze travels in excess of 100 miles per hour. And since we started this segment, the Earth has traveled more than 5,000 miles. How about that?
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when in like space movies, like the fictional one about landing on the moon. No, nothing. Okay, that's fine.
No, I'm with
like they
you.
have to calculate.
Yeah.
Like, and normally
Yeah.
you'd think like what? You just aim and shoot straight at the moon, but that thing is hurtling through space.
Very
which is
fast.
Insane.
Last thing for you. According to Amazon, the most highlighted books on Kindles are the Bible, the Steve Jobs biography, and the Hunger Games. The Bible, Steve Jobs biography, and the Hunger Games.
Isn't the Steve Jobs biography just the Hunger Games?
I think so. Eunice is great. She does a great job each and every day. Kyle Madsen's okay. I'm Carmichael Dave, a total failure. We will see you on Monday at 6 a.m. Go Kings. Enjoy the rest of your broadcast day. Jim Rome is next right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. Have a great weekend. Bye now.
This is The Lowdown.